Welcome to Joshua Okwuwe Online Maths. Still on quadratic equation. This time we'll be looking at another method again we can use to solve questions or to answer quadratic problems. Like this is called completing the square method. Completing the square method. You know, we've talked about factorization method. We've also shown how we can also construct quadratic equation when we are given the roots. This time we're going to see how we can use another method again now to solve quadratic equations, and this is called completing the square method. Now please, this is the key under this method. What is the key? Watch out for the coefficient of what? X square or Y square or whatever alphabet that is using. Your first job is to first reduce it to 1. After reducing it to 1, you move to second step. What is the second step now? The coefficient of x or coefficient of y or k or whatever alphabet that is used in the question, half it. What do I say? Half it. That means multiply it by 2. Multiply it by 1/2 or divide it by 2. It means half it. After halving it, what do? You will now square it. You will square it and add it to both sides of the equation. You will square it and add it to both sides of the what? Of the equation. Now everything I've said now, watch the following example as we will be practicalizing that. Now what do you have? You have the first one here. So it's usually you write your what? Your solution. So this is what? A now. 4m squared plus 10m minus 5 is equals to what? 0. So what do you do from here? This is what? Remember I said you are going to do what? Reduce the coefficient of what? M squared to what? To 1. And how will I do that? I will divide everything by what? By 4. Divide everything by 4. So this will give me what? M squared plus, look at this, I can decide to reduce this. I can actually reduce it. 2 here is what? 2. 2 here is what? 5. That give me what? 5 over what? Over 2m equals to, I'm taking this to the other side now. That will give me what? 5 over 4. Now remember, we have reduced the coefficient of m squared to what? To 1. Remember what I say in the second step now? We are going to halve the coefficient of m, square it, and then add it to this side and this side. What do I mean by that? The coefficient of m is what? 5 over 2. What do I say you do? Half it. That means multiply it by 1/2. Okay? And then you square them, your answer, and add it to both sides. So if I should multiply this now, this is what? 5 over what? Over 4 square. So this 5 over 4 square, I am going to do what? I'm going to add it to what? To both sides of the equation. Remember, if it is plus, that means you are having everything, they're both minus 5 over 2. But because it is plus now, that is why I just wrote only plus here. So we are adding the square of 5 over 4 now to what? To both sides of the equation. So that is what? M squared now plus 5 over 2m. Now I'm adding this now to both sides plus 5 over 4 square equals to 5 over 4 plus 5 over 4 squared. Okay, so all this you are having here, this is square, this is square. Okay, so all this you are having here is the same thing as saying m plus 5 over 4 whole square. If I should open this bracket, I will get this everything here back. I'll get everything here back. If I open this bracket, I'll get this back. So this equals to 5 over 4 plus the square of 5 is what? 25. And the square of 4 is what? Is 16. So we'll continue from here now. So this equals to m plus 5 over 4 square equals to, look at this, The LCM of 4 and 16 is what? Is 16. So this is 16 over 16 divided by 4 is what? Is 4. 4 times 5 is what? Is 5. Oh, sorry, 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 5 is what? Is 20. Plus 16 divided by 16 is 1. 1 times 25 is what? Is 25. So this is what? M plus 5 over 4 all square equals to what? Is what? 45 over what? Over 16. So what will I do from here now? I'm going to take the square root of both sides. Take the square root of what? Of both sides. That is m plus 5 over 4 square is square root now equals to plus or minus, you introduce this, over what? 45 over what? Over 16. So these square roots go with this square, so leaving us what? M plus 5 over 4 equals to plus or minus. Now we know the root of 16 to be what? To be 4. And then so we're going to use calculator now to get the what? The square root of what? Of 45. Because we know that the square root of 16 is what? Is 4. So the square root, using our calculator now, square root of 45 is what? 6.7. 6.7. Okay. Rise to 1 decimal place now. So this means that m is equals to minus 5 over 4 plus or minus 6.7 over what? Over 4. So this same as saying m is equals to minus 5 over 4 plus 6.7 over 4, or minus 5 over 4 minus 6.7 over 4. Okay? So the LCM of this and this are the same. So that is what? 4. So this is what? Minus 5 plus 6.7, or 4 minus 5 minus 6.7. Okay, so this is the same as saying this means that m now is equals to, from this, minus 5 plus 6.7 is set as 6.7 minus what? Minus 5. That will give us what? 1.7 over what? Over 4. Or minus 5 minus this give us what? Minus 11.7 over what? Over 4. Now if you use your calculator to divide that first one now, 1.7 divided by 4, that will give us what? So m is equals to 0.443, or 11.7 divided by 4 will give us what? Or minus 2.993. So that is the answer to what? To this first question, using the completing the square method to answer that. That is it. Not difficult at all. Very simple. So again, what have we done? We said that all you need to do first and foremost, you reduce the coefficient of m squared to what? To 1. After that, and how do you do that? By dividing everything you are having there with that one coefficient of what? M squared. If we say having just maybe equation like s squared minus 2s plus 5 equals to 0, the coefficient of s squared is already 1, so you don't have any business here. So all you need to do, just half this, square it, and add it to both sides after taking this to the other side of the equation, and that is it. But because the coefficient of s squared here is more than 1, that's why I have to first reduce it to what? To 1. After that, what do? We now have to do what? Square. We half it. After halving it, we now square it and add it to both sides of what? Of the equation. That's exactly what we did here. We half it. After halving it, what do? We now square it. We add it to this side of the equation and the other side of the equation, and then we now solve. We said that if we should open this bracket, now that means n plus 5 over 4. Open another bracket, n plus 5 over 4. If you should open that bracket, you will get all this back. So we'll solve this now. And that is how we arrived at this. The LCM of 4 and 16 is what? Is 16. And then 16 divided by 4 is what? Is 4. 4 times 5 is 20. We have 25. 20 plus 25, 45. You take the square root of what? Of both sides. And that is how we arrived at what? At our answer. Not difficult at all. Very, very what? Simple. Now, if you know that you understand this, I want you to try this second question on your own. I'm going to do something. I will stop at a point and I will expect you to do what? To try to finish it up. Now, the B part now said that what? 3k square is equals to what? 8k plus what? Plus 8. What will you do here? Just do this one. 3k square. Take this to this side minus what? 8k equals to what? Equals to 8. Leave the 8 there. Okay, now what will you do now? Reduce the equation of k squared to what? To 1. And how will you do that? Divide everything by what? By 3. So k squared minus 8 over 3k is equals to 8 over 3. So what will you do from here now? Remember the rule. Half this. Half the coefficient of k. After halving it, square it and add it to both sides and complete it. That is, how do you have this? It means you should do this minus 8 over 3 times 1 over 2. That will give you minus 8 over what? Over 6. Now square this. Okay, so that is what you are doing. This is what? K square minus 8 over 3k. Now add this now to both sides. That will give you what? Let's say bracket minus 8 over what? Over 6 square plus what? 8 over 3. Okay, plus open bracket minus 8 over 6 square. That is it. So you solve this. Remember, if you want to bring this down, plus times minus is what? Plus times. Now don't do that. If you do that, you get it wrong. Handle whatever you are having in the square. If you want to handle like this one now, don't make the mistake of saying plus times minus. You want to bring it out. No way, don't do that. Handle everything you have in the bracket for, because this on its own, everything here is saying as saying k minus 8 over 6 all square is equals to what? This is what? 8 over 3. I'm going to stop here now. You complete it. Plus the square of this 8 square is what? 64 over what? 36. And that is it. So please, I want to finish it up from that point. From that very point, what will you do from here? Go back to this side. From here now, take the square root of both sides. Okay? Take the square root of both sides and try to solve it. Use your calculator if possible. And then you complete and get your answer like this. It's very simple. It's not difficult. Please practice. Practice. The more you practice, I'll show you in no time you agree with me that all these things in mathematics, they are very, very what? Simple and not difficult at all. Once again, thank you so much for always visiting my channel. Bye bye for now.